And for those who are here in the council chambers, just to remind everybody to please make sure your cell phones are silenced. Legs out so we. Right, everybody. The Common Council of the City of Glendale is now in session. Would everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Alderman Doherty is going to lead us in the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Short. Mayor Kennedy,
Here.
Alderwoman Vukovic,
Here.
Alderman Doherty,
Here.
Alderman Gelhardt,
Here.
Alderman Bailey,
Here.
Alderman Schmausling,
Here.
Alderwoman Shaw.
All right, public comment. Glendale residents, business owners, and property owners are invited to speak to the council on items that are not on tonight's agenda, but are within the city's ability to regulate or control. Is there anyone in the council chambers wishing to speak in public comment? We do have somebody. Okay, go ahead. We typically do council chambers first and then see if there's anybody online that wants to speak. So if you would please pull the microphone toward you. It's a directional mic. So if you're not talking directly into it, the people on the Zoom won't be able to hear you. So state your name and your address first, please.
All right, my name is Randy Ripp, RIPP. My address is 420 West Acacia Road. I'm here today to follow up on the meeting 2 weeks ago, specifically the conversation around the library, the new North Shore Library. Mayor Kennedy, I sent you an email using the City of Glendale portal, and I didn't get a reply, so I'm hoping to get one today, and then I have one additional point. The email reads as follows. Hello, Mayor Kennedy. I attended last night's council meeting and the discussion around the new North Shore Library. I was confused by a comment you made regarding concerns around Glendale having to come up with any build-out expense money. I understood you to say that if Glendale didn't budget this money, you would not have an obligation to provide these funds to the library. In the example discussed, the library estimates it will need $4 million for the build-out. Assuming $0 from fundraising, and I know that's a pessimistic outlook, but let's assume that, it would mean roughly $2 million coming from Glendale. Did you mean to say that if the council didn't approve the $2 million in the budget, Glendale would not have to pay it to the library? I may have misunderstood you, so I'm asking for clarification. Thanks in advance.
Okay, so to answer your question, the contract that we signed that connects us with the library with the other three communities says that we will pay according to a formula. So Glendale is roughly half the population. So in terms of the operating costs of the library, we're responsible for like 49% of the library. If there were to be a future capital expenditure, then the city of Glendale would be responsible for half of that capital expenditure. For example, the library that we're currently in prior to the pandemic was supposed to get about a $4 million renovation, and Glendale was to be responsible for $2 million for that renovation for the current space. In this library that we're looking at now with Bayside, that library, if there were to be a capital expenditure, they would call on the communities. What I did say, though, is that none of the 4 communities have it in their capital budgets to put any money toward anything. So it would be a heavy lift for all 4 communities at this point to have to come up with the money to pay for the capital. So that is why I've been assisting with the fundraising. The fundraising efforts are being headed by 2 of the village presidents, because it is their anticipation that the communities are going to pay 0 toward capital costs. You know, if we were to have to pay a capital cost of $2 million, the current building we're in, once the library moves, we own that space and we have the ability to sell that space back to the owner of the building. The value of it is somewhere between $1.5 million and $2 million. So Glendale is probably in the best financial situation of any of the 4 communities. If we had to borrow temporarily, get the library built out and moved, we would then be able to sell the existing space and have the money to pretty much pay off anything we might have to put up front.
But there's no scenario by which Glendale wouldn't pay its 49 point some percent share of the
So
build out.
this is the problem we had with the, what, 6 years of trying to renovate the previous library, is every library, every year, one of the 4 communities did not have it in their budget for the renovation. I don't know why, but every year it seemed like 1 year it was Fox Point, 1 year it was Bayside, every year, 1 year it was River Hills. We kept coming up against this roadblock of, oh, well, we can't afford to do it this year. We're going to have to wait till next year. And so, and Glendale had it in our capital improvement budget. We just kept bumping it from year to year. We had that money in there for a number of years. And so, I mean, that's the problem we will come up against. And that's why the fundraising effort is and the brand new space, which is much easier to fundraise for than renovating an existing space. Yeah.
Thank you for the clarification.
Sure.
I didn't think I understood you right. So
Yeah, and I have here, I did respond to your email. So, I mean, I forwarded, because you did it through the online portal.
I did.
So I copied your email address and pasted it in and forwarded it, basically forwarded your message back to you.
okay, well, thank you. I'll check
Yeah.
my spam. Maybe it's there.
Yeah.
So the last point I have, and I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, and maybe you already know this, but I did reach out to Representative Moore's office to thank her for her support.
Uh-huh.
And I was told, and I have some paperwork here to show it, the ask that she's making on our behalf has dropped from $5 million to $500,000.
I did not know that.
I can leave this with you if you want to see it, but yeah. So the good news is there's still money pending, hopefully,
Right.
but they dropped it by 90%. So if we are successful, it'll be 500,000, not 5 million.
Okay. And the impetus of the fundraising was never behind looking for the federal government to pay for our library. As a matter of fact, I get my hair cut by the same person that cuts Mr. Seelig's hair. I spoke with Mr. Seelig on Friday morning when I went to get a haircut. He was right after me. We chatted for a few minutes about the library and the efforts that are underway, and it is moving forward.
Good.
And the expectation was always that, with the individuals that are being reached out to, the contracts that are being put together, that this would come entirely from the private fundraising.
It would have been nice to get $5 million.
It certainly would have been nice. It would have made sure that this library sat on an endowment at that point.
Yeah.
Because any money we raised would have then essentially gone into an endowment.
Well, thank you. Do you want this?
Actually, I would like, if you want to give it to the city administrator, it would be great.
All right, thank you.
And I'll follow up with President Walney because I have not heard this. So President Walney, we have a meeting of the mayors every month, and it was this afternoon and President Walney wasn't there. So I didn't, maybe he's found out and hasn't told me yet. So.
They said they haven't alerted anybody. It's just on the website. They told me how to find it, and I highlighted on the second page where it's at. So I don't
Okay.
think they haven't reached out to anybody.
Okay. Well, it's good to know, but thank you.
All right,
Appreciate
yep.
that.
Have a good night.
Yep. Thank you. Okay. Anyone else in the chambers wanting to speak in public comment? All right. Anyone attending on the Zoom want to speak in public comment? If so, you can unmute and state your name and address. All right, seeing no one, we will move on then. Our consent agenda tonight just has 2 items, accounts payable and a denial of a claim. Can I have a motion to approve or adopt the consent agenda, please? Moved by Alderwoman Shaw, seconded by Alderwoman Vukovic. Any discussion? Hearing no objection, we'll consider the consent agenda adopted. No objections. All right, we will move forward. There's 1 item of new business tonight, and that is discussion and consideration of scheduling a public hearing for a change of zoning for a gas station and convenience store. This is what was, I think, currently the Applebee's gas station up on Port Washington Road, to rezone it to a PD. This is a recommendation back from the Plan Commission. So the Plan Commission has already had its public hearing and is now recommending back to the Common Council that we move forward. So in the past, we've actually had a motion from the council to schedule a date specifically. In consultation with our Director of Planning and Development, we can make a motion specifically to direct staff to schedule a public hearing at the first available opportunity. And that leaves some flexibility. If they're able to get the public hearing done faster or more, than waiting 30 days out, then that happens. If for example, there's also a problem with like the newspaper doesn't get something printed, then we don't have to bring it back to the council again with another recommendation. So to have another motion. So I'd like to ask, are there any questions or anything about this zoning issue before I call for a motion? All right, can we have a motion then to direct staff to schedule a public hearing, the earliest available city council meeting for the rezoning of the property on Port Washington Road?
So moved.
Second.
Who made the motion?
I did.
Gelhard, and then moved by Gelhard, seconded by Doherty. All those in favor, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Okay, the motion carries. And the final item then tonight is commission, committee, and board and staff reports. I am not going to go around the table and call on everybody. I'm just going to ask, does anybody have anything they want to report? If you could by raise of hands. So Alderwoman Shaw and then Alderman Schmelzling.
Just want to let you know, excuse me, the first Music in the Glen concert is this Wednesday. And there's a veterans, salute to veterans beginning at 6:15. The concert itself is at 6:30, hour and a half. It's command performance. They're doing our veteran salute and they will be doing the big band sound for the night. And I'm hoping to expect everyone there and come and get introduced. And Mayor Kennedy will talk.
Like 30 seconds. Like 30 seconds. All right, Alderman Schmelzling.
Just wanted to call out that we did have, of course, our 4th of July celebration. We had a very large summer soak that was after our planned summer soak. So we did have to cancel the fireworks, as most everyone probably knows. We just had our little retrospective and the discussion about opportunities to reschedule the fireworks. And we decided as a committee, due to the logistics of the fireworks already being up in Green Bay, having to re-rent the park, restaked all the work for the snow fencing and everything. It is just not going to be something we can do this year. We do appreciate that that neighboring community reached out and said they might be able to give us some park to use, but again, we still have to go through all those other activities. We will be looking at seeing if we can either rent the park a day longer next year. Wouldn't have helped this year because it would have rained out anyways, but at least having it as a contingency plan and see what the costs and such would be to do something like that. But beyond that, just want to thank all of our volunteers that did come out. We had a number of people here. I know Alderman Lukovic, Alderman Gelhard, a lot of other people helping. One other person on the call, Mr. Cronwell. A lot of people were helping at the event, and it was definitely needed because we kind of came up short on volunteers otherwise. So that's about it. So we'll get planning for next year. We're closing out the books and everything and seeing how we did financially, and then we'll see where we are next year. Thank you.
All right, any other reports people want to make? Not seeing anybody raising their hands in the chambers. Anybody on the Zoom? All right, North Shore Fire Department meets tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. It is a virtual meeting. You can find that on their website. And that's my only report. And I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Alderman Doherty, seconded by Alderwoman Shaw.
Second.
All those in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? We stand adjourned.